love at first sight. Oh well, it's easy to be fickle when another love is waiting. And so to Rhodes, the old Crusaders' island, though in fact they were only a fragment of the island's history. What a perfectly delightful place. Most of us stayed ashore for lunch. Fresh, fat fish straight from the morning nets, and local wine at 3 and 6 a bottle. And then to Lindos, a charming little town lying snugly under a vast acropolis. The donkeys were waiting, and by now we were ready for anything. You might say that this acropolis is built of layer upon layer of history. But even if that sort of thing leaves you cold, the views from the battlements alone would make the trip well worthwhile. The sun was setting and the ancient stones were all aglow when we headed back, casting our shadows before us. Next day, we were on our way to Beirut, where some of us took wing and flew on to Jerusalem. We were welcomed at the Mount of Olives Hotel, just a stone's throw from the Garden of Gethsemany, where the newly risen Christ revealed himself. And Bethlehem. Then through the gate of Damascus to Old Jerusalem. Here, pilgrim and tourist mingle, and often the distinction isn't very clear. But even pilgrims sometimes falter, and I, for one, must admit that it was a relief to take off my shoes and walk on cool, soft carpets in the great mosque, the dome of the rock. Later, some of us tried swimming in the Dead Sea. It was perfectly ridiculous, bobbing about like a cork, the water so dense with salt. I wouldn't have missed it for anything. Soon we left the Dead Sea for the living waters of the Jordan, to the place where Jesus was baptized. At daybreak, we crossed over to Mount Zion in time for morning service. And then through crypt and courtyard to the sacred upper room, now sanctified by Christian, Jew, and Muslim alike. All too soon we were on our way. To Jaffa now, and Tel Aviv, and finally to Haifa, where Fantasia lay waiting in the harbor. That evening we sailed due west, straight into the setting sun. So back to Crete again, and back to the Regina for the last leg of the journey. We stopped a while at Itia, and took the coach to Delphi. And even if you think you don't believe in oracles, there's something so strangely impressive about the scenery all around, it rather tends to make you doubt your disbelief. And finally, Dubrovnik, a place of rare enchantment. A fairy tale-like quality. Perhaps it's because there's no traffic inside the city walls, and no pavements either, just streets and people. And if you've still got any money left, there's plenty here to buy, and cheaply too, I think, though I'm not quite sure about that. The currency is a bit bewildering at first, but I'm pretty sure that glass of Slivovitz in the harbour restaurant must have cost less than a shilling. But I never did have time to work it out, for now the party was over, and what a party it had all been. And now the problem. How do I get all that into a 32-page brochure? Quite impossible, of course. As a way of travel, cruising is unique, because wherever you may go, you take your own luxury hotel along with you. Cruising means so many things, so many different things to different people. And Chandris cruises seem to offer something of everything for everyone, served up with a dash of adventure and a touch of luxury. Perhaps that's why they're so habit-forming.
Holidays. Oh, they're marvelous things. Of course, it all depends what you're after. Well, some people like to spend a holiday quietly at home, and other people like to get away. Hello, dear.
When you finish that job, don't forget the lawn, will you?
All right, dear. Now, what was I saying? Oh, yes, holidays. Well, you see, some people like to get away to the seaside, but, I mean, you've always got the dreadful problem of the weather. Some people try to escape to the flesh pots of the continent. Oh, yes, I've tried that, too. You can get quite a long way with sign language, of course, but it does have its disadvantages. Billy wanted some fish. Have you got fish?
Yes, I have calamares. Very, very good.
Calamares?
Very nice.
You know they are, aren't you?
I've no idea.
What's calamares?
Calamares es una cosa con los dedos muy largos. ¿Cómo se dice en inglés? Octopus.
Octopus.
Yes,
You,
octopus.
thank
Very
you.
nice.
But there's one type of holiday which I personally think combines the best of
Cruising holiday. The first essential is a friendly ship designed for cruising. So to those of you who don't already know her, here's the Reina del Mar, or as we would say, Queen of the Sea. Either way, it's a proud romantic name. The next essential is a friendly captain and a staff who make you welcome on board, make you feel at home. After all, this is going to be your floating home for about 2 weeks. So the sooner we settle in and make friends, the sooner we're going to enjoy ourselves. And that's what this part is all about, meeting people. Yes, just a little soda, please. Hey, they look lovely, but I'm trying to be strong-minded. There's a blue sea all around and a warm sun overhead. A place to put your feet up and someone to bring you a drink. There are some interesting ports of call ahead. But why think of ports of call at a time like this? We're not all ships that pass in the night.
Here today is noon items of interest from the bridge. The day's run from noon yesterday until noon today was 410 miles, giving the vessel an average speed of 17.08 knots. The air temperature at noon today was 78 degrees Fahrenheit, and that of the sea 72 degrees Fahrenheit. May we also advise passengers that in addition to the luncheon in the restaurants, that the cold buffet lunch is now being served on the Lido deck. Thank you.
Of course, they don't serve a cold buffet every day. Sometimes it's hamburgers and salad. It all depends on the weather and the chef. But when the conditions are right, it does seem a waste of wonderful sunshine to go below for luncheon in the restaurant. However, it's good to have the choice. Not everyone is a sun worshipper, and man cannot live by food alone. Ah, well. And talking of the sun, what about a hat? It's probably one of those things you didn't or couldn't pack. But never mind, the shop on board takes care of everything. And why not let yourself go with one of those exotic perfumes? You know, surrender, tropical night. Now, steady, Mabel. Now, who dealt this lot? Well, my partner's got a better hand. Well, Jim, it's you to call. Not everybody wants to spend their time on deck, and the club room provides a quiet corner for cards or to enjoy a book from the ship's library. And at sundowner time, there's the Trident Room, a pleasant place to meet for a drink before dinner. There's the choice of 4 bars and 2 dining rooms. This is the Pacific Restaurant. The atmosphere, even at the captain's table, is always informal. Of course, the women come out in their most attractive dresses, and some men return the compliment with dinner jackets. But dressing for dinner is quite a personal matter, and many men prefer lounge suits. I think tonight, sir, I'd recommend the barbecued fillet steak with creamed mushrooms. How about you, madam? Yes, right, I'll send you the wine, steward. Just as the menus are varied and well chosen, so too are the pots of call. From the Parthenon, magnificently sited on the Acropolis, we move down to the heart of the city of Athens, to Constitution Square with Mount Lycabettus in the background. And just as visitors enjoy the changing of the guard in London, so here they watch with fascination as the Evzonis, as the Greek National Guard are called, go through a similar routine in a quite different uniform. And then back to our floating hotel. Of course, Athens is only one port of call in the Mediterranean. And so to Naples. This is one of those ports which offer the day visitor an almost bewildering choice of excursions. Apart from the city itself, there are the coach drives to Mount Vesuvius and Pompeii, or journeys further along the dramatic coast road to Amalfi. Some prefer to visit the lesser-known island of Ischia, which is about 20 minutes away from Naples by hydrofoil. To those who are visiting the Italian Riviera for the first time, the resort of Sorrento and a trip to the Isle of Capri has a very special attraction. Just to be different, let's find our way down to the romantic coastal village of Positano. This is between Sorrento and Amalfi. So far, we've shown some of the Mediterranean ports of call. Now let's move west of Gibraltar to those cruises which include Portugal, the Azores, Madeira, and the Canary Islands. Early morning, and another new exciting port. This time it's the dramatic landfall of Tenerife, as we steam into the harbor of Santa Cruz. From this commercial center, it's a short coach drive to the holiday town of Puerto de la Cruz. Tenerife, like its sister island of Gran Canaria, has its own gay festivals, a traditional echo of Spain. It's been called the Island of Flowers. It's also an island of remarkable contrasts. Few more surprising than snow-capped Mount Teide, 12,000 feet above the valleys of bananas and orchids. Another island of even, temperate climate and lush vegetation is Madeira. From the quayside, you can try this rather unconventional form of transport. It's a leisurely way to see something of Funchal, the capital of this Portuguese island. You'll almost certainly be tempted to stop and admire and perhaps buy some of the orchids for your cabin. Another temptation, and just about every coach driver will lead you astray, in quite the nicest way, to sample, yes, you must have guessed, a little Madeira. Yes, there are some strange ways of getting about Madeira. Perhaps it's the effect of that wine, but this is fun at any age. And whether you've just been around the town or halfway around the island, there's that warm, friendly feeling of coming back to your ship, your home from home, a cool cabin and good companions to share the day's experiences. A touch of Africa, I call it Tangiers. Although this Moroccan city has been over-glamorized in the movies, it still retains that flavor of mystery. Oh yes, they'll try to sell you all sorts of things, and much of the local handicraft is very attractive indeed. But it's perhaps wise to buy later, just before the ship sails. So let's just wander along and see what offers. No, this one's not for sale. Strictly for the family camera. Now I wonder, what the devil can I get? Can't see Mum in those somehow. But everyone seems to be buying like mad. Good job they're not going back by air.
How much for this one then?
This one, £2.
No. I give you £3.10 for the two.
Huh?
£3.10 for two.
£4 in any order. £4.
Oh, I have got £4.10.
£4.
No, I can't do £4.10. Have you got it?
And on the other side of this gateway to the Mediterranean, Gibraltar. The Rock, as it's always been called through the centuries of sea power, has more recently changed its character to become a holiday centre. Gibraltar is still a free port, and there are some good buys to be made, free of purchase tax. Yes, there's much to see and do at all the ports of call. Cruising at sea always has that element of surprise. Now let's return to our ship again to enjoy a few more days of life on board. Most passengers agree that a good cruise holiday should be a happy balance between organized time and free time. And talking of balance, have you ever tried your hand, or is it legs, at this? Well, now, the idea is that you sit on the pole. Oh. Well, now, let's try again. Yes, well, not that way either. The idea is, oh, you know, they should have written a sea shanty about this. Well, now, you try to knock your opponent off. But, you know, some people never admit that they're beaten. And it's not only the grown-ups who have fun and games. Cruising is a family holiday, too. But there are times when parents and other passengers agree that children should be neither seen nor heard. And that's just what the nursery and the children's hostess provide. Every cruise has its highlights. For the youngsters, it's the fancy dress parade and tea party. In strange contrast to the happy noise of this bun fight, the grown-ups are taking their pleasures far more seriously.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're moving on to the second one of our houses this afternoon on the light blue coloured ticket, and as always on our light blue coloured ticket, any 10 numbers. Our quickie house this afternoon, any 10 numbers. Eyes down, look in, lots of concentration, and our first number for this house, clickety-click, all the sixes, 66. And the next number, one doesn't one, number 12. The gentleman's number, legs 11. 20, line 20, and all good children, 2 and 7, 27. All the 4s. 50 drawers, 44, and all the 8s, 2 fat ladies, 88. My goodness me, it's number 3. And by itself, one little duck, number 2.
Bingo!
Whether it's arranging a glimpse of the good old Charleston days or one of the regular evening dances, you'll find the purser and his staff there to help friends make more friends. Because quite simply, that's what makes a friendly ship. Sometimes it's a bit difficult to keep track of the purser. He's a man of many parts, even an old Chelsea pensioner. Then there's the Ocean Derby night, with a glamorous hat parade. It looks more like Ascot than Epsom. And there's the purser again, doing his best to talk the girls off the straight and narrow tape.
And it's number 4 there, staying out the running from the inside. Number 1, the only inside, really putting on the bender. They're calling all the girls, still number 3 there. In the knees, number 5, and it's number 5, really putting on the challenge for number 3, and number 5 is cut off the balls around the way. It leaves number 3 the clear winner this stage, number 3. In the knees for number 1, the only inside. And as they turn the table, 150 yards to go. It's number 3 and number 1. Really racing out and out to go. There's one to winning first, with 50 yards to go. It's number 3 and number 1. Anybody's great indeed as they go water winning both. And at the post it's number 3 which is the winner. Very lucky.
And if you're a father who fancies himself as the pop of the tops, then the mermaid room will give you all the encouragement you need. That's if you can keep up with the mermaids. And yes, believe it or not, there's the purser again. When the nights are warm, really warm, then it's dancing on deck. This really is the life. The nearest land seems so far away. And the stars and the moon seem so near. And now it's farewell night in the cinema. The light-hearted review is over, and the purser and his staff take their bow.
would like to thank you. It's been a wonderful audience this evening. You really have been tremendous. We hope we haven't really sort of put you off on coming on another cruise on the Reina del Mar. In actual fact, we might even encourage you by telling you that next year we're going to give you our version of Old Calcutta.
On the wing over the sea to sky. La 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 la. Oh. Well, what do you think of the cruise idea? I expect a good many of you are wondering how I knew so much about it. Well, because you can see now, I actually work on the Reina.
Get on with it, then. You're not around now. Get a move on with it.
Sorry about that interruption. The bosun's like that. Thinks he owns the ship. Now, what was I saying? Oh, yes, I remember what I was saying. I'm certain that you'd find a cruise on the Reina absolutely tremendous fun. Enjoy yourselves, won't you? Speed, bonny boat, like a bird on the wing.